Finally, those awesome earbuds the reviewers were raving about have arrived. Okay, earbuds. So, basically, life is too short to live on bad sound. That's it. Personally, I love a good quality price relationship. As a consumer, it's always the guiding line that I use in order to buy any kind of product. Maximum quality at the lowest price. On the other hand, I do love quality sound, whether it is in music, movies, TV shows. Quality sound, it's an essential part for us to have an amazing entertainment experience. And currently, we are able to get that without spending a fortune. Personally, I'm a big fan of wireless earbuds. These little things. And there are tons of offers from various brands in this space for all price ranges from like 10 euros up to hundreds or even thousands of euros. Personally, I've tested dozens of them from various brands and I've had plenty of surprises. Some good, some bad. That's life. As such, I know it is important to know how to navigate this vast ocean of earbud offerings, and to do that, I do what I assume most of you also do. I consume lots and lots of reviews. However, I'm not satisfied with most of the reviews I get, especially the way they are conducted. In my opinion, they focus too much on lesser aspects, again, in my opinion, such as wireless charging. For this kind of product, for me, wireless charging is not relevant at all. And they put that against other characteristics with the same importance for them, but for me, it's ludicrous to have the same importance, such as sound quality or microphone and call quality. For me, that is something that is much more relevant and important in case of this particular product than wireless charging. So, given that I haven't felt my opinion that well represented, I decided to do my own reviews, and here we are. So, how am I going to evaluate earbuds? That is the question. Please don't forget that this is a very personal and subjective topic, okay? The disclaimer is out. Let's talk about it. I've decided to break the evaluation process into 3 parts. A listening evaluation, which basically encompasses everything except the explicit use of a microphone. The microphone evaluation, which basically refers to evaluating how good the microphone is in recordings or phone calls. And finally, a quality price relationship that leads to the final recommendation score. This way, the earbuds will always have 3 scores, one for listening, one for microphone, and the final recommendation. This will hopefully allow you to identify with more ease which earbuds are better suited for listening to music, for example, or spending the day in business calls. Although it is perfectly possible to split the analysis space into several different dimensions, I try to do it in a way that for me is simple and intuitive, which includes most common use cases for the use of earbuds in our day-to-day, at least from my understanding, with the purpose of facilitating your decision-making when considering a purchase of a given earbud. As such, there are details that, because I don't consider them as relevant enough, they are not considered in this evaluation. I'll give you an example of this. The IP rating, which stands for ingress protection. This is the protection from water and from dust. Given that nowadays almost every earbud have at least an IP rating of IPX4, which basically means that you can train with them, you can run with them. It will sustain light water splashes and sweat with no problem, as long as you don't go into the pool with them or soak them in water. You should be fine. And remember, there are lots of people even today that are using earbuds that are not even IP certified in any way, myself included, and they are using them just fine for daily training, for example. So I don't think that's a real issue. So let's start dissecting these evaluation factors, shall we? So let's start with the hearing score. And the hearing score is composed of critical factors and other factors. Critical factors are the ones that I mostly believe are extremely relevant for earbud evaluation. And these are sound quality, that's half the rating right there, 50%. Comfort, both in the earbuds and the case, 15%. And volume, 10%. And we will discuss them further. So first off, sound quality, and for me, as you can see, it's the most critical factor of any earbud. If it doesn't sound right, it's out. Sound quality usually benefits from larger drivers or from a multiple driver combination in order to address different frequencies at the same time. Still regarding sound quality, how do we get to it? Basically, I have a playlist. It's a public playlist, so you can go ahead and check it out. It's on YouTube Music under Leo Tech Lab. I believe it's called Sound Test Playlist. And so I have a bunch of tracks that I handpicked in order to address the performance of the earbuds in these features that I'm going to talk about now. And those are bass performance, mid-range performance, treble performance. Of course, these are frequency ranges, balance performance. This means how well does a music perform when it is composed of bass, mid-range and treble at the same time, so different frequency ranges at the same time. Also dynamic, so this relates to the performance on tracks which have very low volume and very high volume in the same track. Imaging performance, so this basically means the ability the listener has to perceive where the sound is coming from, either from the left or to the right or at the center or even at the back. And finally, sound stage. So this means how well can the listener perceive how far away or close are the sounds to your listening spot. Oh, by the way, if you're liking the video, help a guy out. Subscribe to the channel and press the like button. Thanks. Back to the video. Okay, moving on to comfort. Comfort both in the earbuds and in the case. So for me, the second most critical point. If the earbuds are not comfortable, they're out. Here we consider factors such as the anatomic fit, which is very subjective, of course. It depends on each person's ear, the weight, the size, the weight and size of the case, how easy it is to take out the earbuds and put them back in the case. You would be surprised how hard it is for some cases. And finally, the volume at 10%. So you have good sound, good comfort, don't have enough volume, they're out. Basically here, we are evaluating if the earbud has enough headroom in terms of volume so that you can adjust the volume in order to improve your listening experience. It's really a bummer when you're listening to a track and you just want just a little bit of volume and you go ahead and you press the plus and you are already at max volume. So other factors we have battery life. It's self-explanatory. The more the better. Done. ANC. I understand this may be a little controversial, but I do believe that ANC is actually not that important in terms of wireless earbuds. And I'll explain why. Although it is something that is very much talked about by all the reviewers, personally, I don't think this is an essential feature for the earbuds. For starters, they have an excellent passive seal because of the way they enter our ears. Second, unless we just want peace and quiet with our own thoughts, we are going to be listening to music, playing a video game, or talking to someone. Which means that besides the passive seal, we will be bombarding our ears with sound straight to the ear canal. And in that case, for me, the only way we're going to hear something from the outside world is if we are working in construction or skydiving off an open door airplane. Not to mention that ANC systems interfere with the sound quality that is being reproduced. ANC systems also have a transparency mode, which basically means instead of using the external microphones in order to block out noise, you use the external microphones to amplify the external noise, and in doing so they are effectively bypassing the passive seal that the earbuds provide. But it's the same thing as with ANC, only in reverse. If I need to pay attention to the outside world sounds, I can just use one earbud. I take one out and I just use one. That way I am also saving the battery of the second earbud for when the first earbud fails. Win-win. Another big disadvantage of the ANC systems is the fact that they consume much more battery than usual. But for all the zen moments that you want to have, alone, with peace and quiet, just with your thoughts in your mind, or if you want to be surrounded by the outside noise while listening to music at the same time, this ANC factor is used to measure how good the earbud is at providing it to you. Easily replaceable ear tips. This is a very important aspect, especially because it allows the user to adapt different ear tips to the earbuds in order to obtain better comfort, a better fit, or even a better grip, so that they don't fall off. There is also the matter that you can buy new ear tips from different manufacturers if the original ear tips are no longer produced, for example. This will effectively prolong the life of your earbud. Customized EQ. Another important aspect that allows the user to adapt the sound to its personal taste, in the case the user dislikes the original EQ. Do note that EQs which are configured to be very far off the original EQs are usually not that effective. Control usability and range, 2%. This aspect basically combines the ease of use of physical controls on the earbuds with the amount of controls we have at our disposal when using the physical controls. This being said, an earbud with physical controls, which are great because they always register at the first time, but they only allow us to change the volume, for example, will have a very similar score to earbuds, which allows us to control everything and anything using the physical controls, but the physical controls do not register that well. High-res codecs or high-definition codecs, 2%. This is a really important aspect, especially for those who like high-fidelity audio with codecs such as LDAC or even aptX HD. Multipoint, 2%. So basically this means having 2 or more devices paired with the earbuds at the same time, for example, 2 smartphones. This can be a good thing if we want to rapidly switch from one device to another, but it can also be a bad thing. For example, if you are watching a movie on one smartphone and you are constantly being bombarded with notifications from the other smartphone. Do note that usually when earbuds have high-res codecs, enabling multipoint will disable the high-res codecs because multipoint requires the extra bandwidth in order to maintain 2 separate Bluetooth connections with both devices. Gaming mode, 2%. This is a mysterious way of achieving low latency, usually felt with Bluetooth connections. This is more relevant for gaming scenarios where it is really important to have a very good synchronization between what's going on in the screen and what's going on in the audio front. I do say mysterious because, as far as I know, the negative side of enabling game mode is never explicitly revealed by the earbud companies. I do strongly suspect that it relates to either audio quality, battery drain, or both. Custom controls. I think this one is self-explanatory. It's always better if you have the ability to customize the controls to your liking. Fast charging, 1%. So this basically means gaining good amount of battery life very quickly. For example, connecting the case with the USB cable or putting the earbuds inside the case for 10 minutes and you gain 2 hours of runtime. Find My Buds or Find My Device, 1%. This basically allows us to find our buds in a relatively close area. When I say close, it's the distance from the device that was connected to the earbud and the earbud itself. For example, if you lost your earbuds at home. If they are still connected to your smartphone, you can press a button on the earbud app and the earbuds will start ringing, and that's how you find them. In-ear detection, 1%. This basically means if you are listening to something and you take one of the earbuds off, the play will stop. After you put the earbud on, the play will resume again. And finally, wireless charging. Basically, this allows us to charge the earbuds case wirelessly, although much slower than just connecting a USB cable. Okay, so that was listening score. Now for the microphone score, basically I only evaluate one factor, which is mic quality or call quality. So basically this represents the ability of the microphone to capture your voice in an intelligible manner, even when in less favorable conditions, such as wind or background noise. And finally, the recommendation. So this basically boils down to a quality price relationship analysis, taking into account how much they cost. There is a value called quality cost, which represents how much are we actually paying for each quality point in terms of the score. Finally, this all boils down to a final recommendation, which has 4 possible values, and they are pretty much self-explanatory. A, get it now. B, it's okay. C, not for me. D, stay away. Okay, so to put this into perspective, we have a final table here, okay, with both scores, the listening score, which is divided into critical aspects and other aspects. As we've seen, sound quality, comfort, and volume are the critical aspects. They make up 75% of the total score. And the other aspects, battery life, ANC, etc., right down to wireless charging, make up to 25% of the overall listening score. The score, it's a number between 0 and 10, and it's a weighted score. So basically I will score each one of these aspects, okay? And then to find out the weighted score, we will basically multiply the score with the respective weight. Regarding the microphone score, we've already seen that this has only one aspect that is being rated, and it's the microphone and call quality. So in this case, the weight is 100%. So the score that I attributed here, it will be the same as the weighted score. And here is the final table that basically gives us the listening score, the microphone score, the cost. Do note that both the listening score and the microphone score do not have anything to do with the cost. But in order to understand if this is a good quality-price relationship, we need the cost to be a factor. So we add the cost and we will divide the cost by the final listening score and the final microphone score in order to understand the cost per quality in terms of listening and the cost per quality in terms of microphone. This basically means that the lower the cost per quality, the better the quality-price relationship, because we are paying less for more quality. And this will boil down to a final recommendation, as I already said. A, get it now. B, it's okay. C, not for me. D, stay away. And that's it. Now bring on the earbuds. Please leave your feedback and share your ideas and opinions in the comments. If you want to stay up to date with the next videos, namely earbud reviews, subscribe to the channel and press that like button. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.